So let's understand what are the different popular IaC tools. Okay, so this is the list of tools, right? Infrastructure as code can be achieved using some set of tools like Terraform, AWS Cloud Formation, Ansible, Chef, Puppet, SaltStack and Kubernetes. So these are few 7 tools or very popularly used IaC tools which can help us in automating the process or establishment of infrastructure. My goal is about setting up the environment, creating the environment, installing the software, creating the runtime environment, installing the IDE, doing the class path settings, all that what is required for a developer, where he can just use this IaC script, create the environment, go write program, that's it. Okay, so these are the different tools which are available: Terraform, Cloud Formation, Ansible, Puppet, Chef, SaltStack and Kubernetes. I think we studied about Kubernetes already, and Puppet is very popular, Terraform is very popular. Again, almost I think these all tools are used widely. What I know, everybody uses these tools frequently, right? So let's understand each one of these tools. What are the different types of tools we have? See, all these tools are not doing same task. The main goal is IaC only, but in IaC they have different slight different roles. Okay, sometimes I may use Terraform and Ansible both for completing one project, for completing one environment setup. Okay, it is not only based on single tool. There are different, all fall under the IaC tools only, but they are slightly different from one another. They have their own specific roles, right? So what are these IaC tools? In that, the first category is infrastructure provisioning tools. This is what we want. We want to create an infrastructure automatically, right? These tools are primarily used to create, modify and destroy the foundational infrastructure, like creating virtual machines, network, database, right? All these things can be provisioned using this infrastructure provision tools. Okay, see, they are almost always declarative. We saw two approach: declarative approach, imperative approach. So these tools, the infrastructure provisioning tools, are declarative in nature. What they help us? They help us in creating, modifying and destroying the foundational infrastructure. Something like virtual machine, database, network, all that can be created and deleted using these tools, right? And what are the examples of those tools? So there are two popular tools in infrastructure provisioning tools. The first one is Terraform. Very popular tool and very powerful tool, Terraform, right? A widely used open source tool by IaC Corp. It's the name of the company who has created this concept of IaC, and they have developed this tool Terraform. Okay, IaC Corp, based on this only, actually we are having one language called HCL. There is one language HCL which is based on this company only, HCL Corporation. They have one language. We will see that language as well, right? So Terraform is one such tool which is used for infrastructure provisioning. Its key feature is being cloud agnostic. Okay, it supports AWS, Azure, GCP and many other providers. Using Terraform, I can connect to these cloud platforms. I can automate these cloud platforms, because when we were studying about deploying the web applications or ML applications in AWS, how challenging it was, right? So it is important that we use some IaC tool, we use some IaC code or IaC script which can automate the process, and that is possible with the help of Terraform. And if you ask me personally, Terraform is the most widely used tool. And as I said, if you go and type top 10 DevOps tools, you will find Terraform. Top 5 DevOps tools, you will find Terraform. Okay, along with Git, Jenkins and all, we can see Terraform also one of the listed tools under DevOps, right? So the advantage is it can support cloud platforms, right? See, it uses a declarative language, HCL. HCL full form is IaC Corp language, IaC Corporation language, their own language. Name of the company, IaC Corporation language. Okay, and excels at managing complex multi-cloud infrastructure. Actually we are going to learn HCL language. HCL is a language using which we will be writing that script which will be creating us the environment. Right? Okay, so that is about Terraform. Anyhow, we are going to learn about Terraform in too much details. Okay, then AWS Cloud Formation, the native IaC tool for AWS. This is a AWS proprietary tool. Okay, it allows you to define AWS resources in JSON and YAML templates. In AWS platform, if you log in and see, at lot of the places we are writing policies, we are writing rules, and we are writing them in JSON format, and that is actually AWS Cloud Formation. Okay, so AWS Cloud Formation is one of the infrastructure provisioning tools. Its main strength is its deep integration with all AWS services. Basically, this is only for AWS platform. And you know why AWS is very popular among all the cloud platforms. And that's why AWS is popular, because of these kind of facilities. So it's both ways. Right? So this is about infrastructure provisioning tools. We have Terraform and we have AWS Cloud Formation. The next type of tools is configuration management tools. Okay, so this tools helps us in configuration, creating the configurations. Right. So these tools specialize in configuring the software on existing servers. What do we do? What kind of configurations we do? They install packages, they manage configuration files, and ensure services are running. Okay, so like class path setting, we talk about class path setting in for some Java based applications or Python applications. You have to do some configuration settings. You have to install some modules. If you are using LaTeX software for designing, writing papers, or maybe for doing PPT or reports, we have to install MikTeX and so many packages we have to install. Only then I can write beautiful documents. All your textbooks, standard textbooks, are written on LaTeX only, LaTeX software. Right? So there also I have to do lot of installations. Okay, there also we have to do lot of installations. So all that is taken care by these configuration management tools. And the one very popular in this is Ansible. Okay, what is this Ansible tool? It's a very popular open source tool known for its simplicity and agentless architecture. Okay, it uses YAML playbooks that are easy to read and operate over SSH. Okay, so Ansible tool is used for configuration settings, installing the packages, basically taking care of the configurations. Okay, and it uses YAML playbooks, again kind of YAML files, and we can operate them, we can use them over secure shell, SSH, secure shell. Right? And it can be used for both imperative and declarative management. See, Ansible supports both ways, imperative and declarative both. In declarative, I have to tell what state I want. In imperative, I have to give the steps exactly. Right? So this Ansible is one of the tools which plays both the roles of imperative and declarative management. Okay, then the next tool is Puppet tool, right? Again, one of the very popular tool. It is used as a declarative model driven approach. It's also a declarative tool. A central Puppet master Puppet master server manages the Puppet agents on each machine, enforcing the desired state. So this is also one of the configuration management tool for IaC. Then we have Chef. The third tool in configuration is Chef, right? A powerful and flexible agent based tool that uses Ruby based DSL, domain specific language DSL. So, it is based on Ruby, right. It's often described as more imperative because we have to clearly specify the commands. We have to clearly tell what are the commands, only then it works, right. So, that is about the Chef. Again, it is an agent based tool. See, we have to tell, we have to give, see, it is more imperative, giving developers fine grained control over configuration steps using recipes and cookbooks. That is why it is called Chef, because if I tell you prepare biryani or prepare some food item, you will do it. But here you in IaC, if I am using Chef is an imperative tool. So, definitely I have to tell how much water to use, how much rice to use, how much salt to use, all that equal recipe I have to give to you. Okay. So, Chef is one of the imperative tools which will help me in setting up the environment or doing the configuration settings. Then the next one is Salt Stack. Salt tool, basically we call this short Salt, right, a high speed event driven automation tool. So, this is this tool will be ignited based on an event. Okay. It can work both using agent or agentless, and it is known for its performance and scalability. Okay. So, all these four will come under the configuration management tools, right. Then the third type and the final type of tools what we have is container orchestration tools. What is this container orchestration tools? So, we play with lot of containers. If you are working with microservices, you definitely have to use the concept of image, and if I am creating image, I have to start that image, run that image in containers. So, when I have multiple containers, to manage them I need one software called as Kubernetes, which is a container orchestration tools. So, this also falls under IaC tool. Why? What does Kubernetes do? Right? See, while not strictly traditional IaC, this is not a strictly traditional IaC, these tools manage the infrastructure and life cycle of containerized applications in a declarative way. That is what it is clearly telling. This Kubernetes is not a core IaC tool like the Chef, Puppet, Ansible or Terraform. It is multi-purpose tool. Kubernetes is not one tool, only tool for IaC. It is used for multiple other purposes, right. So, Kubernetes K8s we call it as, we have already seen this K8s, right. So, it is a standard, de facto standard for container orchestration. When I want to play with lot of containers, I have to use containers, Kubernetes. It automates the deployment, scaling and management of containerized applications. We know how Kubernetes takes care of all the containers, right. So, for example, users define the desired state of an application, that is run 3 replicas of this container and expose it on the port 80. Because it is a declarative tool, Kubernetes is a declarative tool, a user can give this kind of command. He can write this kind of an instruction in the YAML file or in the script. What it will do? See the example, run 3 replicas. I want to create 3 instances of this container and expose that container on the port number 80, right. So, these are a few important tools what we have. Okay. So, I hope you understood about the different tools available in the IaC. First one is infrastructure provisioning tools, we have Terraform and AWS Cloud Formation. Then configuration management, we have Ansible, Puppet, Chef and Salt. And finally, container orchestration, we have Kubernetes. So, all these tools can be used for managing the IaC.